So pranams everybody. Arunachala Shiva. Asatoma Satgamaya. Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So welcome to the 18th episode of Arunachala Ramana Chintanam. So we are doing Chintan on the hill Arunachala. We are doing Chintan on the voice of Arunachala, voice of Shiva, that is Bhagavan Ramana. And we are doing Chintan on the various aspects of the Jnana Khanda. Yesterday, as we discussed, the Mahatma is there, and then you have the Jnana Khanda and then the Sadhana Khanda. So, if the Jnana Khanda is apt, if it is very clear, if things are very, very clear, depending on the clarity, your sadhana, quality of sadhana increases or decreases. So, the more clarity you have of what you are doing and why you are doing, the purpose of all these different sadhanas or different paths or whatever you call it, all these purposes, if you understand what is the intent behind all this. Of course, the only intent, the highest intent behind all the paths and all the religions are to liberate us. Liberate us as not in we are stuck somewhere. There is no stuckness. Liberation from an experience that we chose, an experience that we have chosen to experience, and when you are exhausted with that experience, when you have had a fuller and deep experience of what we always wanted to experience, that is why we are here. When you are done with it and you are bored with that experience, then you think of ending it off. You think of going back home. You're out on a trip. You enjoyed the trip or you did not enjoy the trip, whatever, but you feel satiated. And then the journey back home, you start remembering your original true self. Because in the false self, we are caught up in all these things. And when these starts crumbling, slowly your original self starts emerging. That is how you get glimpses of who you are, who am I. So, in order to remember those who are nearing the end of their all experiences, matured enough after eons and millions of God knows how many lifetimes, when one is ripe enough, Arunachala calls. Ripe enough means you are coming to the core, from where you began the journey. You can say the more far you are from Arunachala, the more you are in samsara. The more closer you come to Arunachala, the closer you are to Mukti. Now, closer and farness, I don't mean by the distance traveled from Arunachala. You might be living in UK or Canada or US and then saying I'm very far. No, I didn't mean that. You might be living right in Tiruvannamalai, but still be miles apart. Somebody might be miles apart, but still be existing at the core of Arunachala. That's the beauty. We are not talking about the physical distance. We are talking about the your perception, your awareness, your consciousness. Where is your consciousness able to rest? You can be miles apart and still be resting in the core, as I said, or you can be very close to the core and be resting out in the periphery, out very, very far. So, distance does not matter. Internal distance matter. External distance is hallucination. It is bound by the time, space, and distance. Kala. It's bound by Kal. But when you go internal, it is governed by Mahakal, where your time, space, and distance, everything is exhausted, everything is destroyed, and you are able to perceive your reality right from wherever you are. Whichever space you are, you can immediately abide in the self, abide in the core of yourself, abide in your existence. So, those who are ready and those who are reaching closer to that, the sadhya keeps changing, because as you come closer, your sadhya increases towards the core. You are not interested much in the outside now. Like somebody that day wrote to me and said that I'm after coming to Arunachala in the past 2 3 years, I'm losing interest in the world. Slowly, I don't feel anything. Everything is crumbling, and playing all the kind of roles in different masks. I'm wearing masks. It's a false mask, and I can see it. So when you see it's a mask, and you are governed by the senses, you are governed by vasanas, you are governed by the old habits and conditioning, but you can see through. You're not that. That's a very little frustrating moment. All seekers have to go through that phase. So that phase is where you realize you don't want it, but you are still wanting it. You don't want many of the things, but you still are wanting it. Internally, you might not want certain things because you know it's not going to take you anywhere, but still you find yourself stuck in those things. Maybe even habits, unable to change the habits because of the old tendencies. So that takes a while, and that's quite normal to happen at these stages because, and according to me, that is tapas. That is, you don't have to go to Himalayas and stand on one leg. You can stand on both leg and still suffer and have all the kind of tapas here in this world only. You can be living in an AC, well furnished room in a very prominent place, in a very living in a very nice position in life, good status, and still be suffering like a tapasvi in the deserts. So it's not just physical; it's a lot of things that happens in the internal environment. That is tapas. Enduring through it, bearing through it, and just understanding it, studying it, learning through it, growing through it, evolving through it. That is the whole process about. So as we come closer, obviously the outside world is going to crumble down. That's the whole thing about Arunachala. If you, I've told this many, many times, you come to Arunachala and if it touches, if you really touch it, if you really touch it, it's fire. It's Shivagni. You really touch it and one ek chingari kafi hai, one spark. It will catch fire. Then that fire will not spare you. It will slowly burn you wherever you go. That fire is the fire of Shiva, the Shivagni, which comes from the Jnana Chakshu, the wisdom, wisdom of the eye of the wisdom. There is the third eye of Shiva, which opens and fire emanates from here. And that fire has got this fire of wisdom. This fire is nothing but wisdom. So whenever wisdom blazes forth, whatever is ignorance, whatever is false, it will just burn it out ruthlessly. That is why it is called Pralaya. Shiva's third eye when it opens. Shiva is not sitting on a hill and opening his third eye towards you or the world. That's a wrong notion. You are the Shiva. When you start realizing, and the Chiti reaches up, and when your third eye opens, you are the Shiva. Shivoham, I am Shiva. I'm not this body, I'm not this intellect, I'm not this mind, I'm not this ego. Who am I? Shivoham. I am Shiva. Aham Brahmasmi. I am the Parabrahman. So when I am that, I am, if I say I am Shiva, then I have a third eye, right? So when the Shivatva is arising in you, when you are coming close to Shiva, when you are becoming Shiva, your third eye is opening. You are becoming more of Shiva. So that third eye is known as the awakening of wisdom, what you are discussing here. Shifting into awareness is all talking just about this and nothing else. All that is why it is linking to all those kind of scriptures which are fire, wisdom. And that wisdom only can drop the false in us. Until this wisdom touches you, until the third eye of Shiva opens, you cannot have pralay in life. Until you have pralay in life, you cannot return to Shivatva. Simple. Until the things that you see are destroyed internally, not externally. You don't have to throw fire like a dragon. Open your third eye and send fire like a dragon and burn everything in front of you. That is what we're talking about. The wisdom by which clarity that you see the world that you're seeing, that you're living in, which you have held so dearly to your heart, thinking that this is the final, this is everything. when you see the reality of this world, the hoaxness of this world, the falseness of this world, the temporariness of this world, it starts crumbling down. That means the third eye is open. That is called pralaya, the destruction of the concepts, destruction of beliefs, destruction of everything that is false. Until that happens, there is no mukti. I would like to reiterate on this because most of us are deluded by this glamour spirituality, which teaches us something else. You can remain here floating in this world and enjoy all the bhoga and at the same time get moksha. You're not going to get it. Try and test it and let me know. Then, otherwise, all the great masters are fools, right? Then Nisardat Maharaj is a fool, then Bhagavan Ramana is foolish, then Devi Kalotra, everything is foolish then. Bhagavan Nityananda is foolish because he is telling until you clear your samsara, you are not going to get mukti. Choose, he says. Bhagavan says, choose one. Either you get samsara or you get mukti. You cannot be moving up and down. Bhagavan Nityananda very clearly in Chidakasha Gita says that both these, samsara and mukti, Shiva and mukti, Shivatva, are both like the day and night, they cannot exist together. So, where is this concept that we are saying these both can go together? They cannot go together. You can live together, you can be conscious in this world and float and detach from it and rise from it, but still you are bound by the world. But until your entire world is completely dissolved, you cannot be completely mukta. Jivan, what do you call the Jivan Mukta. So that stage is very, very, very rare. We all travel to that path where we say, okay, we are divine. We see things, we understand things, but the identity doesn't go. The ego still remains. I had no much idea about this until I traveled to the Himalayas, and that's meeting with that Mahapurusha was a great eye opener. So he told me all these sadhanas that you see here, all the tapas that you see here, all the people sitting in the caves for years in all these isolated places, it's not the real thing yet. They are all practicing for ultimate annihilation of the mind, because mind is still there. So there he said the most ripe sadhana is when one can dissolve the final identity that I am a saint, I am a sannyasi, I am a vairagi, I am a tapasvi, I am a guru, I am a avatara. Anything that is holding an identity that is still a subtle ego, so that is the final, that is called manonasha. The mind is completely dissolved, and only the avadhuts have reached that state. Are you getting this very clear? Avadhuts means they have completely destroyed the mind. They are mindless. Start see Chidakasha Gita, verse number 1 only says Gyanis are mindless. They don't have a mind. Manonasha has happened. What Bhagavan Ramana is telling, Manonasha. The other is all Manolaya. It simply disappears for a while. You are in Samadhi, or you're in some divine ecstasy. You're disconnected. Then again the mind comes back, and then the identity comes back again. I am so and so. I am a saint. I am a sannyasi. I am a vairagi. These things also still come back. They might disappear for some time. So that disappearance is not a big deal. Ramana insisted that mind has to completely dissolve, then the journey is complete. Now we might not be looking at that. Okay, we might not be looking, to be like an avadut or something. I don't mean that. That's a very different state. But I'm still bringing clarity of what is moksha, what is mukti, what is avadut tattva, what is manonasha. I'm just bringing clarity on that, though we may not be aiming for that right now. Aiming even to be towards a Jivan Mukta, being free while in this world, being very conscious, rising above the world and seeing through the falseness of this world and surviving and living in a more divine presence, living more and more, abiding in the self. That's only a great achievement for sadhakas, for seekers. That itself is a very, very high level of achievement on the path. That's not easy. But once we reach till there, then it's easy, because after that the I has to keep dying. The I has to be let go on. Then after that, grace takes over. After that level, nobody can achieve and say, I'm going to get jivan, I'm going to be attain moksha. You can't. You can only go to that state and be highly aware of that I that you still hold, and work on that probably, or be very conscious about it, that it exists, because when you do not pay attention that it exists, it will survive. I will continue remaining a somebody. So that stage is very, very, very. That's why you can see avadhuts are very, very, very rare on the planet. Avadhuts means those who have completely annihilated their mind, because in the mind there is me and mine. So there is no consciousness about this is me, I am so and so, or this is mine, this is my house, this is my ashram, or these are my disciples, these are my devotees, this is my son, this is my daughter, this is my wife, this is my grandmother, you know, and this is my country, this is my house. These kind of things cannot come. Me and mine completely, when it annihilates, that's the state of avadhuta. There is nothing, because from that level, when the mind has completely gone off, the mind, the I has gone off, then there is no personalized action in such beings. That I is not doing anything. The guru doesn't do anything there. The saint is not doing anything. There is no blesser. To bless someone, you have to be superior, right? There is a sense of superiority. Then only when you feel I am superior, somebody is inferior, you lift your hand to bless, right? So there also there is a different bhed hai, baby. When the mind is there, that bheda will be caused. The difference will be caused 100%. In an avadut, that is missing. There is no differentiation. You go in front of an avadut and an avadut. You go beg, borrow, steal, you do anything with him, he will just remain what it is. He is not interested in blessing you. He is not interested in cursing you. He is beyond all that. Avadut. Then why Avadut's presence is powerful? Because they are godlike. Huh? Somebody who doesn't have a mind, somebody who doesn't have a personality, somebody who doesn't have an agenda of what to do with himself or what to do with you. Then Avaduta. So one who is without an agenda, his consciousness, his or her consciousness is a free flow of God's energy, the divinity flowing from out. Huh? It is not polluted by the mind, it is not captured, it is not manipulated. Are you getting it? The energies are not manipulated by that energy is not manipulated by what I want. It doesn't change direction. Because I is there, I can change direction. I can bless someone, I can stop from blessing, I can pray for someone, I can not pray for someone, I can favor someone, I may not favor someone. Somebody might be special to me, somebody is not special to me, somebody is my own, somebody I disown. These things can never be in that state of avadut. So avadut is considered a very high state. It's like God living in a human body. That is why sitting in, even being in the presence of an avaduta is like being in presence of God. Very rare. These people, these beings are very, very rare. It's very difficult to spot them also. And if it's very difficult to spot them because they are so hidden by the way we go and identify them, because we are mind people. So we have different ideas, concepts about avadus. We believe they are there to bless you. You go to them, you'll get power, you'll get blessing, you'll get this, you'll get that, they will remove your karma. All these things are there. So when we go with a lot of transactions. These people cannot be transacted. They don't fall for all those tricks. You can never flatter an avadhuta, because egos get flattered. You cannot praise him, you cannot insult him, it doesn't make any sense to him. He's just brimming there. He's just spontaneity. Whatever happens to him, even if he speaks through his indriyas, it's spontaneous actions. The I is not making do that. I've been in the vicinity of around 14 avadutas in my life, and I've seen all these happening in all the 14 avadutas, all of them in South India, one in Murthal. No I there. There is no intention. None of these have had any intention to bless or curse. They are there. So if you attune to the language of silence, what Bhagavan Ramana is teaching so much, you will benefit from being in the vicinity of an Avaduta. That is why people came and sat in the vicinity, in the presence of Bhagavan Ramana for hours without discussions. They woke up transformed. Something happened in silence. Only they know it. This cannot be known by a mind who does not or does not want to understand these things. Because mind simply is interested in transactions. Even if it wants to meet a divine person, it wants to do some business there. It wants to get something. So such beings can never understand the language of silence, because that is where the grace is hidden. So the purified souls who are done with their desires and all these business, transaction business, who have nothing more to do, all that they want is to enjoy the presence of a Jivan Mukta, because their presence is not capable enough to give them that, but they have vasana for that, sadhu vasana. They want to enjoy their own self. But since they are unable to, they enjoy the presence of those who are self realized. That is why they go to Bhagavan Ramana or Nisargadatta Maharaj, Bhagavan Nityananda. Not everybody goes for that, but the very few who go for that receive that kind of grace, receive that presence, receive that Upadesha through silence. They don't need talks. Are you getting that? So you can see we are training so much for that silence. You can see our retreats, you can see our webinars. We are training towards that, to tap into that silence, because that is where everything is. Without getting there, there is no use running around doing this sadhana, that sadhana, 100 something. Nothing you're going to gain. Check it out. If I exist after 40 years, also come and tell me. If after all that doing anything you have got, that is only to prepare you to dive deep. That is not going to give you mukti. So I'm picking out the choicest of such quotes and putting it out so that people realize it's not in that. What Shiva is telling Parvati, Devi Kalvatra, verse number 17, I had put today. That none of the external rituals like japa or dhyana, that is meditation or contemplation, none of the rituals, none of the pilgrimages, they can give you mukti. But that mukti, that realization, self realization, what you have read in the Vedas, defined in the Vedas, can only be achieved by jnana. Jnana is the only way you're going to achieve it, not any of the doings. How much more clarity do we need? This is Shiva's word. And Shiva's word in the final Upadesha given to Parvati. Final. Why it is called final? That's it. That's the end of the story. After that, there is nothing to be told. There is no other teachings after that. That's the last teaching that Shiva gave. So if you are worthy enough, if you are receiving this, if you are understanding it, if you are grateful, and if you are able to perceive it properly and even experience it, then you are blessed by Shiva, because you are receiving the final Upadesha. You are not just receiving the final Upadesha, you are following the Upadesha. That can be only by the grace of Shiva. Only by the grace of Shiva you can follow his final teachings. So whether you follow it or not, also preceding that is the interest. If you have deep interest to even make that your sadhya, even if your mind is not cooperating due to the earlier conditions, but if you have a deep desire to follow that Upadesha, that's enough. And I'm talking about Upadesha, that desire to follow. I'm not even saying following, practicing. And I'm not even saying becoming that. I'm saying even the attempt, understanding it, realizing it, accepting it in your heart, acknowledging it, and being motivated to move in that direction, that can happen only with the grace of Shiva. And that grace of Shiva only is flowing from Arunachala, because Arunachala is the tattva where these things are opened up. Tell me, where will you find Devi Kalotra? You search it anywhere, you will not get it. His final Upadesha, isn't that funny? It is funny. We talk so much about Shiva, 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 Shiva everywhere. Har Har Mahadev. But nobody knows about Devi Kalotra. No teachers in the Shiva Marg teach about Devi Kalotra. I wonder why. It is such an highest part, higher document. The final Upadesha given to Parvati. Why is this not famous? It is not famous because we are glamorized by the lower needs in the paths. We enter the paths also carrying our lower vasanas only. We want those fulfillments only. So we are not interested. Neither the student nor the teacher is interested in bringing out these tattvas, because there is no market for this. Where is there market for Devi Kalotra? People will run. People will disappear from your life if Devi Kalotra comes out. Who's interested to disappear? I would rather disappear from these talks than myself disappear from this existence. I think that I am disappearing from what you are saying because I don't want to disappear. I want to exist here, the Mahishasura. I doesn't want to die. And then we keep on glorifying and talking big about self-realization, moksha, phoksha, all this will be talking. De sadhana kiya, wo sadhana kiya. Come on, sit and meditate to go and become one with Shiva. What is that, one with Shiva? You become one with Shiva after listening to his Upadesha. You want to take his Upadesha, final Upadesha, and you will become one with Shiva. Ridiculous, isn't it? It's a funny world. Spiritual world is even funnier. Only when you can see these things, how we have made a comedy out of many things, then only you can go beyond it. If you keep on glorifying all these falseness, you cannot go to that extent. You cannot see beyond. Are you getting the point? That is Arunachala. That is why Devi Kalotra, this final Upadesha, Bhagavan Ramana brought it out. Why nowhere in the world so many years, centuries have passed, this tradition, that tradition, nobody talks about this document? Because I remember when this document came into my hand, this what Bhagavan Ramana has done, that also is not very famous there also. In Tiruvannamalai also, I'm telling you, nobody knows about Devi Kalotra. Even the people coming for retreat, so many, even Westerner friends, so many are there, they say, what's that? Where did you get that? It's in so and so. So even if Bhagavan Ramana brought it out, it's lying in one of the book, in one corner. It's called the Collected Works of Ramana Maharishi. It's a thick book. In that there are many documents, like Sarvagyanatra, there is Upadesaram, there is Ulladhanarpudu, and there is this Devi Kalotra. That way there are many documents, all one compilation. It's called the Collected Works of Ramana Maharishi. Buy it. I don't have it here. It's inside my library. Otherwise I would have shown you that cover. In that you have it. And interestingly, when Bhagavan Ramana used to live in the Namashivaya Guha, you know the Jiva Samadhi of Namashivaya, right? That Namashivaya Guha, that cave where two Jiva Samadhis are, the Guru and Shishya. There when he lived, that is the time, the first ever document that Bhagavan translated. First ever work of Bhagavan Ramana was this Devi Kalotra, which he has extracted from some, and it is a part of Shiva Mahapuran. So that's very, no, I don't think it's a Shiva Mahapuran. It's one of the documents. It's one of the rarest documents, but it is a part of a scripture. Let me just check it out. What it is? It's a part of a huge scripture. In that one corner, we have this. From there, that Devi Kalatra by itself is not a document. Like you can say it's one of the chapters. But why did Ramana go and pick out that particular thing? Because that's not his work. That is Shiva's work. His voice of Shiva. For a purpose. The first work that he ever did was this. And Bhagavan's very few choicest works that he has done are all excellent stuff, all pointing in this direction. Few of them is what I mentioned, like Upadesh Saramal, Urladanarpada, and this Sarvagyanutra, and he even emphasized on Yog Vashish Sara. You look at all these documents, or Ribu Gita, fantastic documents, but highly boring to the glamorous. They can't understand. See what boring stuff is this? But I can see so many are so sunk in it. When we were doing the Ulladhanarpada, the 40 verses, Ulladhanarpada means the 40 verses on reality. Ulladu means what is. Narpada, 40 verses. 40 verses written on what is. 40 verses like a deep meditation. Each verse can be a webinar. So we took 10, 15 days to do Ulladhanarpada, Bhagwan's work. So some will sink into it. Those who sadhya is that, by the grace of Shiva, they will find it interesting, and that will bring them mukti. Okay, am I live now? I saw it got reconnected just now. If somebody can just post a message. Okay. Anitaji, can you just tell me the last word that you heard from me? Because I don't know when it got disconnected. I'm talking to myself. Alive, huh? What is the last word that you could hear? Or what got relayed? So I will know where I got disconnected. So that means this is not reaching you. This voice is not reaching you right now. Can anybody tell me what is the last, just one line, that the last that you heard before getting disconnected? Talking about Ullathanarpadu. Oh, that was long back. Okay, I got disconnected from there. Okay. Whatever. Maybe what is supposed to reach only will reach, anyways. What is not supposed to reach in some way. I'll take it as that. Yeah, we were talking about Ulladhanarpada, Upadesaram, all these documents which are there. These were one of the highest texts written by Bhagwan Ramana, like Yoga Vashishta, Ribu Gita, very, very high conscious. So people who get connected, yeah, I was saying people who get connected to these kind of documents, they can get connected only by the grace of Shiva. Only by the grace of the Lord that interest towards such kind. Like I was saying, the sadhya, that's the change of sadhya. You want nothing other than the self. Then you will get documents, nothing other than the self. You will get sadhanas, nothing other than the self. You will get teachers like Ramana or Nisarga and Nityananda who talks you nothing other than the self. Their documents will talk. This is not life. I don't understand what's happening today. Priya, what do you mean this is not life? I think there's a gap in. Here my internet shows perfectly fine and all everything else is working fine. No, no, it starts from the beginning means it got disconnected, but the continuation will be there. Maybe you're looking at the recording, but if you just scroll to the right, you will come back to the light. Anyways, so I'll continue whatever I was saying. I was talking about Devika Luthra. I was talking about these documents which needs the grace of Kala Bhairava. Without the grace of Kala Bhairava, you cannot go beyond and reach the Bhairava. Bhairav Tattva means the concepts have to be broken. And that breaks only when you come closer to the fire because fire burns. And Arunachala hill is the fire, it burns. So, all the seekers who have deep interest in Arunachala, you can say it is one of the fewer last janmas. Because if you keep hovering around Arunachala, that grace will do the work. The problem in life is the ability to sit in one place. Because let's say fire burns, but you have to be there, right? For to allow the fire to burn. We come close and then we go aside. You know, it's too hot, then we go aside. Then we cool down, then we again come, warm up ourselves, then again go. So that can take time. But if you are there repeatedly coming or living there, you know, being in that vicinity, receiving the grace all the time, being in satsang with the hill and with the teachings of Ramana all the time, that is like the grace of the Lord. So, yesterday we were discussing about how incomprehensible this hill is, which is beyond speech and thought, it is unapproachable, being a mass of fire. Yesterday I explained it is unapproachable because of the heat, the light, bardasht nahi hota, we cannot tolerate the truths. But if you are able to tolerate the truth, you will sit there and you will allow that fire of truth to burn you. That's called the grace of Shiva. Allowing the grace to burn you. Allowing the grace to burn you means you must know that that burning is for good. But if I want to protect myself all the time, then that burning away or the shedding away of all the unwanted will not happen. So, yesterday I read what is the real meaning of pradakshina. Pradakshina. Pra means rooting out sin, da means granting of desire, kshi means the obliterating of fruits of karma, and na means liberation. Real meaning of pradakshina. You can refer to yesterday's recording to understand this. I explained in detail. So then further it reads, even I circumambulate Arunadri, the divinely effulgent linga, which is my form, in the company of Ganas, Devas, Rishis, at the time of the sacred Uttarayana, the winter solstice. I do so for the welfare of the world. Moreover, Goddess Gauri will come here to do penance. She will become pure by circumambulating me. See, here he's telling, even I circumambulate Arunadri. It was at 9:40. What's the time now? Okay, not much, 10, 15 minutes. But I think I was talking more on the higher scriptures at that time. Okay, whatever will of God. See, here he's saying, Shiva is saying, even I circumambulate Arunadri. I also circulate the hill. What does that mean? The divinely effulgent linga, which is my form. And I do that in the company of Ganas, Devas, Rishis at the time of the sacred Uttarayana. In the winter, the Uttarayana, the particular time, the winter solstice. When Shiva says, even I circumambulate, the divine light, which is my form. See the Parashiva which is there, the light, after the light, or be see the emptiness, the darkness, the nothingness is Parashiva, formless, Nirguna, Nirakara, which cannot be defined. That complete effulgent space, Chidakasha. Now that is the real Parashiva. But there is a form, Saguna Rupa also that comes. The first form is the light. Then everything that manifests out of that is his form only. Light, sound, energy, then the matter. It's all coming from that space only. So even the Saguna Rupas, the Ganas, the Devatas, the Rishis, all these higher lokas, everything is coming down slowly, right? They're getting more concentrated. So the Shiva is also taking a form of light, and from there, the Brahma, Vishnu, and Rudra. So you can see Brahma also is created from that. Vishnu is also created, and Rudra is created. That is more the form that we associate all the time with. We are associating with Maheshwara, the form, the Shankara, the form which we know, the Trishul, Jatadhari, and all that. So there is a form and there is a formless. See, that is the meaning is even I circumambulate my form. Who's the one who can circumambulate? Which has some form, right? Can the formless circumambulate? You can't. Akasha cannot circumambulate anywhere. But anything inside Akasha can circumambulate. So anything that has a guna, that is born out of it, even the Rudra, which is Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, Mahesh also has to circumambulate. That shows Mahesh also will dissolve into that. Clear? Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh also are born. Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh also die. And the pralaya happens. Everything returns back to nothing. So they are born, whatever is born has to go. Go back to that form. So I circumambulate myself. If you look very closely, deeply, when you abide in the self, and I say, I'm meditating upon myself, look, this is explained here. Same. I meditating on myself. There are two entities here, right? There is a I and myself. आपको देव, आपको बजो, आपके भीतर, आपके राम, आप होके रहते हैं. Within you, there is a Ram, which is you only, which lives in that form, but it is you only. So you meditate on that Ram, Atma Ram, which is your form only. So technically, see, when you say I meditate on myself, I do meditation on myself. These both are who? You only. One is the ego form, which has taken the form Saguna Rupa. There is a Nirguna Rupa, that is the self. You are who? You are the Saguna Rupa, which has taken a form. Form is meditating on the formless. आपको देहो, आपको बजो, आपके राम, आपके भीतर, आप होके रहते हैं. Simple. So in that only manner you can see here, Shiva is telling when I circumambulate. Who's this I? The speaker, the sayer, the one who is in the play. See, this is all the play of consciousness. Huh? The hill is under the play of consciousness. Everybody around the hill are in the play of consciousness. Parvati is in the play of consciousness. When all these play disappears into that nothingness, that is Parashiva. Right? So everything that is created is that. So whatever we are doing right now, we are all that mini Shivas. Right now, somebody is pretending to be wise. Somebody is pretending to be ignorant. Somebody is pretending, the same Shiva is pretending to be a guru. The same Shiva on the other end is pretending to be a disciple. Same Shiva is telling, my buddhi is clear. The same Shiva is telling on the other hand, I am a buddhu. Buddhi is not there. So why? Because when you assume different forms, then they interact with each other and a play goes on. Everything is coming from the same consciousness. It disappears back into the same, just like the cinema, the movie. All comes from light, falls on that screen, looks so real, interact with each other, and finally, when the movie is over, everything disappears and all that remains is a blank screen. From the light it came, the movie. When the light is withdrawn, the movie is withdrawn. So you can simply say this whole thing about the hill coming out and the hill happening, Rishi is coming, this happening, it's all just that movie. In the vast space of Chidakasha. In the movie, there is a start and there is an end. The start begins with Arunachala and the end of the movie is Arunachala. To get to know what happens as the movie winds up, you have to come to the central point from where it is explainable, because that is the easy point to explain, because that is the first point where the movie began and that is the end point where the movie is going to end. So until you come to the center, you cannot understand the secrets of what lies beyond it. If you don't come to the center, you will feel the movie only is true. Like yesterday or day before yesterday, I was saying, you cannot be doing Giri Pradakshina all your life or all your lifetimes. Okay, one life you miss it, other lifetime take another Janma and come here and again do Giri Pradakshina. Do it for another 1,000 years or 1,000 lifetimes. Doesn't make sense. You are doing Giri Pradakshina so that the one doing Giri Pradakshina must melt and dissolve. That is the I. The reason to do Giri Pradakshina is to dissolve into that I. I have heard some people sometimes they say, I want to be your bhakta forever. Every janma make me a devotee. That's a part of the play. Because sometimes we are very interested to be playing that high role also. It is a part of the desire only. That I don't want to disappear. I told no. There is a scare to disappear. I don't know where you heard that when the network had gone, probably I was saying that we disappear from truths because we don't want to disappear. When I remember the first time I did Devi Kalutra, 2-3 years back, I had around at that time 80-85 sign-ups. Devi Kalotra, everybody. I put a poster of Shiva and Parvati sitting under the tree, and I said the final Upadesha given by Shiva. So all the Shiva Bhaktas came because they love Shivas. And we did it for 8 days or something, I think, first time. First day, everybody came. Second day, the attendance reduced to around 60. Then it became 45-50. By the last few days, there were around 25 people left. Where do people disappear? I'm saying, why are they disappearing? Because they are hearing what they don't want to hear. So what if Shiva is saying, I don't want to hear him say that. But we love him. Good. Why do people disappear? Because they don't want to disappear. Their existence will disappear if you listen to these things. And I want to exist. So make me your bhakta. Every janma I'll come and I'll let me stay at your feet. There is fun in that. There is thrill in that. That's another part of the play only. You cannot say that is out of the play. Maybe that's a very higher point, but still it's a part of the play. You're interested in the whole play. So where the movie begins and the movie ends, that's Arunachala. Okay? And Bhagavan Ramana is the translator. He is telling us what lies beyond the movie. You look at all his texts, all what Bhagavan Ramana is talking, or Nisargadatta Maharaj is talking, they're talking what lies beyond the movie. That's what I'm saying. There are spiritual paths and religion, but they all are interested in talking about the movie. Nobody is talking about beyond the movie. Because the beyond the movie is very scary. It's just like till the light is there on the screen. You know, we love this interaction. Eyes wants to see something. You see in the movie hall, pitch dark. Why they do pitch dark? So that you focus on the movie. You should not get distracted anywhere. Movie is crystal clear, and everybody is like a owl sitting there, fully wide open, fully interested, uh, fully into it. You see all these movie reviews and all this. It's very funny when I look at it. How people talk about this movie. Oh my God, it made me cry. People are weeping, falling over chairs, and some killing themselves. Some are going mad, tearing their clothes. You've heard that? All these love stories. Oh God damn. I heard there is a movie. I don't know what is that movie also. Name also I don't know. But when I listen to some of that songs only, I feel like depressing. Recent some movie where the heroine is there, and I don't know. I am told I because I didn't want. I don't have interest to even look at the glimpse of that. Somehow, where the wife or the girlfriend or the heroine is already married to someone or something, and she's coming back to her childhood friend or somebody or some boyfriend before the marriage, and they are reliving some moment. What nonsense, utter nonsense. And in that, people are tearing their clothes, and I saw some of the reels, crying and weeping. Oh my God. मूवी के अंदर मूवी के अंदर मूवी के अंदर मूवी. My God, how deep can it be? I mean, the hoaxness of all these things. Nowadays, it's like the negative, what we call as negative, is flourishing. There's so much of interest in all the negative. Dhurandhar, that is right. Wow. I was looking at that. Villains are getting so much of importance now. Negative roles are getting so much of importance. There's a craze. See, I'm telling you, these are all the inner reflections in us. What lives in us, we are attracted by that outside. You have deep pain and trauma. You are dramatic, which I call dramatic. You are dramatic, you love all these kind of outside dramas. Whatever is suppressed will be shown out in your interests. Only people who are aware will look at their interests and look at all these things that is alluring them, and they will know what needs work inside. Not that these experiences are false or wrong. These are all good pointers. How will we know what we have until we see what we are doing? How we project internal stuff outside. What is there in our unconscious only we project it outside. So when we love all these negative roles and things like that, that's a villain in us. There is that part in us. There is a Ravan in us, which is finding all those things very exciting. So we are drawn to that. That's nothing but us. See, what is inside is outside, and what is outside, when the outside people see, they will sell it. Demand and supply. Collective consciousness, whatever is floating from inside, what is coming outside, the outside people are very sharp enough to understand the demand of the collective consciousness, and they will supply that, be it movies, be it thrills, be it even products. All the products are designed to satisfy the inner needs which are projected outside as outer needs. You look at the rise in all these different gadgets, different products. All the inner thing which is coming out is moving outside. You can see vulgarity coming into even children's uh, cartoons. Some of the cartoons are banned when they are double meaning and they have hidden stuff in that, and children are simply copying it out. It's not that the children are learning, it's what's inside which is projecting outside, and it tries to get it from there. So much of rise in sex toys, have you seen all this? So much of things which were once upon a time just even taboo or non-existent suddenly has emerged out. It's all the unhealed aspects of a human being which has been thrown out. And when it is thrown out, there is a craving, there is a desire, and the outside world sees it and makes a market for it, including your spiritual market. You're traveling in fear, immediately yantras will come out. and that will become the new business for you. Mantras will come out. Gods and deities that can take you out from fear will come out. Once upon a time, these were not there. You have to see this very clearly. Once upon a time, this was all not there. These are all coming as per the new needs. So the collective consciousness is nothing but every individual consciousness which projects outside. That only is collective consciousness. Whatever I project, accordingly, I create my fate. I do karmas accordingly, and that becomes my Akashic records. And based on that, I keep repeating and getting what, which becomes my destiny, which I say, God is, the divine will is doing it. Divine will doesn't create for you, okay? Whatever you create goes into your Akashic records, spread across that whole file called Sanchita. From that Sanchita is gathered and justifyingly it is redistributed back. That is called divine will. Divine will doesn't mean God is putting you in trouble and then he's trying to take you out of it. Why will he do that? He is not involved in that. We do it out of our desires. But like I said, when we forget that, what we have done, we don't know. 56 Janmas back, what you did, you don't know. But it's there in the Akashic records. And that only comes to us. When it comes, we say, no, I don't want it. I will try. That we imply this free will. I'm the creator of my own destiny. I will create. I disagree with all this. Is divine will going to leave you? Just because you disagree and you say, no, I'm going to create it? No. Who's going to bear that? That will be given back. So that is when that conflict happens. I am the creator of my own destiny. I try to create something, but it's not going my way. Why it is not going? Because you are distributed according to the divine will. Kartur ajnani prapte phalam karma kim param karma tajjanam. Same. Distributed as per the divine. That is what we call as teri raza mein meri raza. That's your will. That's your wish, means whatever you have decided according to my Akashic records. You know how you are giving that in installments. I trust you are giving it rightly. That is what it means. People misunderstand God is sitting there and controlling everybody's, and God is putting you in a ditch, and then God is sending you somebody to save you out of that ditch. I fell in that ditch. You're getting the whole thing. So the movie goes on according to our desires. So as per my desires, I keep on creating. I create my own destiny in that manner. Similarly, when many eyes are put together, the collective consciousness, we create a collective karma. We create a collective present tense. We create a collective potential future tense based on the collective present. Collectively, we have a past. Collectively, we have a present right now. The collective present is based on the collective past, what we have done. Same programming, beliefs, everything what is collectively done, that only is moving forward and creating our new this. So in the present, whatever the collective is, what the future is going to be of the collective consciousness. What we call as yugas, Satyuga coming, Kali Yuga going, or Satyuga gone, Treta Yuga gone, Dwapar Yuga gone, Kali Yuga is coming, or we are in Kali Yuga. Who's bringing this? Collective consciousness. So if we have to go to Satyuga, you'll see individually, you'll start getting the spark. Like you can see, spirituality is so high now. After Corona, you can see many people, many things have come up now. All these possibilities, what we are doing now, after Corona, it is. Before Corona, where it was. You see all these possibilities. The tech hike, the technicalities, the live, the sessions which we are doing in sitting at your home. You had to go to some hall and do it before, right? You have to travel from one place to the other to do it. No, today you don't have that problem. So on a mass level, something is happening. Corona might look negative. We didn't ask for Corona. The pandemic, why would we ask for pandemic? But it came to us. We are all striving for a better future. Then why pandemic came to her? Kartur ajnani papte phalam karma kim param karma tajjadam. That's what we are calling as divine will. So that divine will, whatever sends, or whatever happens, according to our Akashic records only, that is having growth internally. Internally only, there is a growth happening. Like I tell you, right? Negative incident happened in my life, and this happened, that happened. At that time, I might brood and cry. But if you look deeply, it is happening for a highest good. I can tell this. If I was 15 years, 20 years back, if I looked at it, I had gone into depression. I had completely lost hope. I was drowned myself in alcohol, cigarettes, and whatnot. But at that time, it was horrendous. So if I go and enter that body at that time, I will see injustice happen. But if I step back today, I will say, wow, what a wonderful thing had happened in my life. So at that moment, it might look. So pandemic is like that. Collective trauma. Pandemic was a shock. Like individually, we get a shock in life. Pandemic was a collective shock. But that was meant for something which we do not know exactly what. No, nobody can ascertain those things. We can only do guesswork, but our guesswork is always wrong. That's the power of that divine will. Nobody can guess. There is some cosmic intelligence running the whole force. So if it has to bring you information, changes in you, we go through all these troubles. In that trouble, we grow, we evolve. So collectively also, we are evolving through troubles. So that's how the whole Srishti is moving. The yugas are moving. Everything is being created. And when the Satyuga is coming, when you say the Kali Yuga is going and Satyuga, we are coming back to that divine, beautiful day. It is that only. We all move towards Arunachala Tattva, the wisdom path happens. So everybody's chitti must have risen enough to come to the wisdom. Collectively, when that happens, everybody's consciousness comes here. Collectively, we become ready to bring a collective change, the consciousness. That is what we call as raising the planet's consciousness. And we don't do that. We think we do it. It is being done through us. We might end up doing a lot of spiritual activities, but we cannot claim. That is where I completely reject that aspect. Personally, I see that as foolishness. And you say, come on, let's save the entire world. Let's raise the consciousness of the planet. That's ego speaking. Who are we to raise? Something is raising, and we are a part of that program, a part of that movie in which we are allowed to play this role. Some divine work we are doing. Okay, great. That is how the approach should be. Kartura Jnana it is. It is not my will. Then the ego will set up. It is because today I will say, I have to change it. Let's change it. And tomorrow, if anything changed, then I will sit claiming it. I did it. It's because of us that the world is saved. How foolish, ridiculous. I'm telling you, if you remove the us also, still the world will evolve. Do you think the world is dependent, the whole cosmos is dependent on one speck of dust? That one speck of dust can say so many things. It doesn't matter. It is just another space. But many speck of dust put together, the whole play happens. Are you seeing this? So now we are sitting and discussing this. Arunachala Tattva. Am I doing it? Are you doing it? How can we say we are doing it? We are given an opportunity. We are part of that. Enjoy that play. Where we are getting an opportunity, you be fully aware of this. You are in this way. So if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, it's fine. We are not the deciders on that. So whatever roles we play, we are happy about it. Like you can say 96 Brahmas dissolved. In Arunachala Tattva, we are discussing in one of the chapters. Where Gautama Rishi is telling Ma Parvati, oh, earlier times also, the 96th Brahma also got dissolved in this manner after doing this tapas in Arunachala. 96th Brahma. So 96 times Brahma has come and returned back. 96 creations. So even Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh also are part of the game only. So that's what he means when he say, even I circumambulate Arunadri, the divinely effulgent linga, which is my form, in the company of Ganas, Devas and Rishis at the time of Uttarayana. I do so for the welfare of the world. Mhm. So this, it's a part of the play. In the play only, there is this role that if I do these things, it is a part of the play, it will welfare, it will benefit. Now Ma Parvati is also continuously saying, Shiva told Parvati, you go there, do this, this will benefit the world. Gautama Rishi also is telling, if I did this tapas, and so that it benefit the world. So whatever we are doing is benefit. Look at us, for example. When you evolve, aren't your children looking at you? And the people looking at you? Aren't others looking at you? Will they not follow if what you're doing seems in realistic experience beneficial to them? When they see a transformation, they're motivated to do that. So, same thing. Doing it for the welfare of the world means we become examples. What does Bhagavan Ramana say about seva? I want to do this seva, I want to do that seva. Bhagavan Ramana simply says the greatest service you can do to humanity is to be self-realized. Realize the self. That is the greatest seva you can do without doing anything personally to this world. When you evolve and you become that, you are doing it for the welfare of the world. That is exactly what he's saying there. Shiva is telling, I do so for the welfare of the world. Moreover, goddess Gauri will come here to do penance. She will become pure by circumambulating me. Afterwards, she will gain one half of my body. Are you getting this? Don't take it as a physical body. One half is like what I say, the honey and its sweetness. They cannot be separated. But for that duality and the game, we feel we are separated, but it's not really separated. Like you and the Shiva can never be separated. Right now also. It's one only. But the power of duality, the power of that illusion makes us feel Shiva is very far. So in that terms, for the egoic point of terms, it is understood that you will feel very far. So that time the self or the soul or the Atman or God or Shiva conveys this message to the ego. Okay, you are feeling different. You are not different, I know it, but from your egoic point of view, I understand. You are feeling you are very different. You are very far from me. Why you are feeling it? Because lot of impurities has come and clouded your chitta. You are not able to see. Dhumralochana. Viveka all has got dulled, smoky intellect. Shiva can understand that. How much ever lectures anybody can give there, it will not be penetrated because they can't see it. We can't see that we are one with Shiva, right? How much ever I tell you or anybody tell. They say, what are you talking about? That's because the impurities are there. So what Shiva can tell at this state to Parvati is do tapas, do penance. Because when you do that, you get cleansed. When you get cleansed, when your mirror, when your glass gets cleansed, you will only see me automatically and you will realize you're not separate. So that is this journey. That is why Bhagavan Ramana, the voice of Shiva, is telling you are already self-realized. There is nothing to realize. So what you have to pay attention is what makes you feel you are not self-realized. That is the ego. So he says, look at the ego, stare at that ego. Find out who am I means this only. He's telling, try to find out who am I. You will realize that you are already that. So here he's saying that only. Goddess Gauri will come here to do penance. She will become pure by circumambulating me. Afterwards, she will gain one half of my body. She will gain means she will realize that she has been a part of me. Again, let me remind you, Parvati is not a goddess that we are talking outside. Parvati is us. The Atman, our soul, is conveying this wisdom to the ego, to our ego. This this jnana is all there in our soul, Shiva. This is always sending this vibe, sending these the wisdom to the egoic body, because the ego has this purity and buddhi is not clear enough. I am not able to grasp this. That is why I listen to the same wisdom outside. So it comes through Ramana or somebody like that. You're getting it? It comes through Gautama Rishi, because Parvati cannot directly perceive it because the delusion is there. So she needs an outer person. So we need an outer guru to remove that. So Ramana is trying to remove that. So when that is removed, you start realizing what it is. At that time, he is telling, that time she will gain half of the body. So gaining half of the body means we will realize half of me is that only half me, I, the ego, and I, the Atman, the self. These are two halves. Look very closely. Our life experience is always two. We will be aware of our conscious part, the divine part of us, and we will also be aware of the asuric part of us. You look at very closely. Now, right now also you see, and you know there is a presence in you, isn't it? But at the same time, you know there is a ego also in you. So we are fluctuating, isn't it? Sometimes we are in the fully in ego, forgotten are the other part. Sometimes in samadhi or in deep contemplation, we are fully in presence. We have lost the world, but we are fluctuating. This itself shows we are in the two halves, isn't it? We are moving from this up. When this gets balanced, when yin yang gets balanced, when masculine and feminine gets balanced, when feminine is more, chanchal nature will be more, samsara will be very strong in you. When you have a feminine nature active, we all have feminine and masculine. Both genders has it. Shiva and Shakti, masculine and feminine, yin and yang. These are both in everybody. But the quality, the quantity of each of these can be more or less. You, irrespective whether you're a female or male, have Shiva and Shakti in you, you have masculine and feminine in you. If feminine nature is more in you, you will be more inclined in samsara. That is, Parvati is active in you, Shiva is lesser in you. If masculine nature is more in you, Shivatva is more in you, the femininity, chanchalta, will be lesser in you. Nischalta will be more. I'm not talking about outside genders. Both can have this. There can be females whose masculine is strong. The females whose masculine is strong, Shivatva is strong, will be very still and calm. Usually it's rare. Because by nature, feminine has the prakriti, the structure of femininity more. Chanchalta is more in female. Shivatva, Nishalta is lesser in females. In males, biologically, Shivatva, the Nischalta is more and Chanchalta is lesser. You can look at the structure of man. In your house, you look at your husband, you look at your son, you look at your brother, you look at your uncles, you look at your father, grandfather, you look at your husband, boyfriends, or grandsons, anybody on the male side. You'll not see too much of chanchalta in that. You compare notes and you see. Feminine structure will be very, very chanchal. It's very hyperactive. Too much moving. Too much of movement. Too much of scatteredness. Too much of wavering. It cannot settle. The feminine cannot settle easily. Masculine can settle. Check this out. I'm not favoring any of these things because I'm not talking about my gender thing. I've seen this in me. I've studied all these things. You experiment and you see. And rarely females can have masculinity where they become nischala more, chanchala, less. Rare cases. I mean, when the imbalance happens, this is when the imbalance happens. Masculine can be more chanchal also, some of them, some ratio. More chanchal, more hyperactive, more than the females, and less of Shivatva in them. They can be more of feminine. Feminine nature is more in them. Means not stable. Femininity is not stable. Parvati is not stable. She is moving. Shiva is stable. Feminine, females cannot settle very easily. Be it a person, place, thing, they cannot settle. They will keep jumping. The minds will keep jumping. They cannot settle with one thing. They cannot decide. Because by nature, the Prakriti is that way. Because by nature, Prakriti wants to expand, grow, produce. You see, feminine produces. Masculine doesn't produce. It cannot reproduce. Feminine reproduces because it wants to expand. It's the way of creation. The procreation, she plays a role of expanding, sustaining, maintaining. You see, the motherhood. She produces, she brings out, she maintains, she sustains, she provides at home. She cooks food. She takes care of the well being of the family. She nourishes the family. The feminine supports for that. The masculine supports for that. But if you see, the tattva of producing, creation and maintaining is more with feminine than masculine. You look at male, how much role they play in this? Men, they are laid back. Females do all the work. I tell this many times. Look in the house, who runs around? You will come to know. Male will be in some corner, sitting or resting or relax somewhere or the other. Feminine is all over the house. Something, because maintenance. See, the maintenance aspect will make the feminine go broom, clean, wash the dishes, take care of the child, cook the food, run outside, come inside. Maintaining all the rooms, she will be there, present. A man hardly moves in all the places. He comes in, he's in some place, settled. That is the nature by nature. But not 100%. Some cases where there is an improvisation where the female, see, in female, the Shakti is more, Shiva is less. Chanchalta is more, Nishalta is less. In male, Nishalta is more, Chanchalta is less. Now, the whole thing of completion is bringing this into balance. Yin Yang. So, whosoever Chanchalta is more, if they work on it and come to the balance with Nishalta, it is like equal. This is called harmony. This is called the state of Ardhanarishvara, Shiva and Shakti, balanced. Both are there. Chanchalta also is there, Nishalta also is there. But they are so complementing to each other. This wandering mind which is running around, which is not settling, if it gets the Shivatva, it will balance. That wandering mind will be abiding in the self. See, that is exactly what is the outside projection, what manifests as a relationship or what you call as husband and wife. This is how it is meant to complement each other. When two people come together, male and female, Shiva and Shakti come together, this is how they are supposed to complement each other. One is too much of Chanchal nature, one is of Nichal nature. Now it can be, both can have imbalances. When they come together and they help, they complement each other, by which they do their balancing, and with the help of each other, they balance the Shiva and Shakti within them. That is called Purna. That's the whole purpose of marriage. Today we don't know what it is. Everything is for a toss. Everything is like something. It's a mad rush, and nobody knows why they are chasing, what they are chasing, why they are. It's just a chaotic stuff. So the tattva is this. If one see, The more one settles down and balance this perfect harmony, the lesser the need for this being to go outside. If more of Shivatva is coming into you, Nishchalta, there will be no Chanchalta, there is no desire for you to rush outside because you are becoming Purna. The Parvati has to merge in Shiva. See, Ardhanarishvara, what does he say here? Gauri will come and do penance here. Okay? Gauri doing penance means what? The Chanchalta she is bringing to balance. Doing penance means that, purifying. When she purifies, what does he say? She will become pure by emulating me, okay? Afterwards, she will gain one half of my body. She becomes balanced there. Now she can stay stable with that Shiva. Like in genuine relationships, they can stay together with their better half. What they call that? Soulmate, whatever that is called. I am not fond of those, but I'm telling whatever that is. Then that is stable. Otherwise, if it is not stable, what will happen? Parvati wants to run outside again. The mind wants to run. Parvati can be in female or in male also. I'm not telling only female. The male also will want to run outside. If Chanchalta is more, the satisfaction is not there, the abiding with each other is not there, it wants another partner. All these news what you hear today, running around. Female is running behind many men, men are running behind many women. Both are together living here in the house for namesake. When they are out, their chanchal nature is busy hunting things outside there. You see this whole thing? Why? Because the illusion of being complete. They feel something will be give me complete there. Mind is wandering. They are not able to understand this nature of themselves. Okay, so Parvati doing tapas means this aspect being balanced. This is the Jnana Khand what you're listening to. Afterwards, you can praise Shiva and Shakti. Before understanding the Jnana Khand, if you praise, you will simply go with garlands and fill the temples and come back. She will gain one half of my body. She will perform severe penance and circumambulate me at the time of Pradosha. Pradosha is the evening of the 13th day of both the waxing and waning of the moon, the fortnights which changes. The Purnima, the full moon day, the dark moon day, the two phases, the two cycles which you have in a month. On the day of Kritika, the day which the moon is in conjunction with the star Pleiades, in the month of Kartike, the 8th month of the Indian solar calendar, which correspond to November, December. That is what we have right now, which I think is what's just active, Kartike Masam. So on this period, right now what is going on, the Kartika Deepam and all that, this is that period where she circumambulates me and she performs severe penance. The goddess in the form of Apita Kuchambika shall then merge in me. Listen carefully what I told all these things. First she does tapas. See here. Again I'll repeat. This is about us. So Goddess Gauri will come here to do penance. She will become pure by circumambulating me. This is the whole concept of one doing tapas and becoming closer to the Shiva, the female coming in contact with another Shiva outside. If that is not needed, she becomes in contact with her own Shiva inside. That is the penance she does, tapas she does. She balances her masculine and feminine. She means not feminine, female only. We are all Parvati, I'm telling you. Again, I'm reminding you. I'm not talking only about even the male. When their chanchal nature is balanced, that is what Parvati is doing. She will gain half of my body, he says. Okay, that is what I'm saying. Masculine and feminine, we are balanced, properly balanced. But is that enough? Is that the end of the journey? Ardhanarishvara is that end of the journey? It is not yet, because that Ardhanarishvara is Shiva and Shakti. The split is still there. The Jivan Mukta state. I am in the world, but still not of the world. Okay, that state is where you are still, the Shakti is performing. I'm running my house, I'm running my household, I'm going to my work, everything is there. But at the same time, I'm not engrossed in this world, I'm detached from the world, I'm completing my so called responsibilities because the Shivatva is active in me. Are you getting it? The Shiva is balanced. I'm in the Ardhanarishvara state. Yogastha Kurkarmani. I am always self aware, what I talk, living always in divine presence. When you live in divine presence, you are in Ardhanarishvara state. Because one part of you, ego, is continuing with the karma or karmic fruits, the other part is aware. So, a person who lives in awareness is in the state of this. We have done enough webinars on bringing this state, the living in divine presence. So, when that is balanced, that is why he says, she will gain half of my body. It is a great achievement, but that's not the end. This is that state, what I mentioned, where I become a saint, for example. So, that saint is Shakti aspect, the I, the ego. It is alive. The saint is connected to Shiva, it's fully aware, conscious. But one part claims I am a saint. Ardhanarishvara, it's a great achievement, this state, but that's not the end. Further, he says, she will then perform severe penance and circumambulate me at the Pradosha time, at the Kartikeya time, at this time, November, December time, she will do that severe penance. Now she comes close, she realizes she is half of Shiva, but that's not the end. Now she is doing intense tapas to remove that identity. The saint does intense tapas. What is that intense tapas? Self inquiry. Who am I? To dissolve that ego. Mano nasha. When the mano nasha goes, man is chit, chiti shakti. Sat and Chit, Sat is Shiva, Chit is Parvati. Chit means man, mind. When the Mano Nasha happens, that means the Shakti is finished because it's merged into Shiva. That is called moksha, where Shakti doesn't remain. Doesn't remain, she doesn't go. She melts into that Shiva. Her astitva goes, that identity goes. That is the state of Avaduta. Now you get it? There is no I. Avaduta doesn't know he's an Avaduta. If he knows he's an Avduta, then he's not. How? Because that knowing I am something is still in the Ardhanari. It is a very high state. I'm not saying it's a very high state. It's very close to the Shivahood. But it's not still finished. Whatever reason. That Ardhanarishvara state, whoever functions, they are in a very high state, they become the perfect instrument of Shiva. That's it. The Shiva, the Shakti aspect is what three are working through. So Shiva is choosing that ego as a saint or a guru or a Mahapurusha or someone doing great work. But it needs ego, right? To function. To be in the egoic world, one part has to be there. So it's a very high state. But I am telling that's not the end, is what I'm trying to say. This is what it is. On the Kartikeya Masa, she does severe tapas. And that is where the story of Mahishasura Mardini comes in. Clear? Parvati from Kanchipuram, she comes to Arunachala. In Arunachala, she realizes she is the half of Shiva. That realization is called self-realization. Two differences between self-realization and moksha, mukti. These are two different aspects. Self-realization, you realize I am the self, means I am only that Shiva. Parvati is realizing I am. That's the Ardhanarishvara state, self-realization. But when the Shakti merges, when the meditator or the yogi or the guru or the shishya or the saint completely dissolves into that, that is known as the perfect state of Shivahood. That is what you call as merging with Shiva. That is what is called as mukti. So at that time, when the intense tapas happens, Shakti is doing the intense tapas, that is the time the Mahishasura will rise. Because Mahishasura is the ego, it doesn't want to die. It's the final death, it knows. Mahishasura till then Till then, it is sitting there. The boss, like in the Hindi movies, the boss is killed in the end, villain. See, whole movie you will see the villain moving around, doing his activity, but the hero cannot directly come in contact with the villain because he is hiding. Hiding only, he is sending his army, he is sending his goons. That is this Mahishasura sending all the Shumba Nishumba, Chanda Munda, Madhu Ketava. You'll have to deal with them first. So Parvati in Kanchipuram and this tapas that she's doing, she's dealing with all these asuras. That is us. We are first have to deal with all these. We cannot directly go and kill the ego. He's the last boss in the film. In the end you can reach him only when you finish the other. Then only he becomes prominent because he is otherwise hidden. He is hidden as Chandamunda, he is hidden as Madhuketav, he is hidden as Dhumralochana, he is hidden as Rakta Bija, he is hidden as Shumbana Shumba. So this battle, Mahayuddha, it is called Durga Shapsati. Slowly the battle happens. You have got to kill, well, kill. And as you come last, the last tapas, now here what we are listening is that sadhana of Parvati, that is our final sadhana for Manonasha. And that time you have to battle that ego, Mahishasura. So she is meditating on Arunachala. That is where it is supposed to have happened. We go there in our retreat times. That's part also. Where she realized the Ardhanarishvara. There is a Ardhanarishvara temple, many of you know when we go for the retreats. Ardhanarishvara temple, that is the spot where it is supposed to have happened. Externally, macrocosmic world. And there she did a tapas, and there she was disturbed by the Mahishasura. Then Parvati had to invoke the Durga in her. You and me. There is one aspect of Shaktiness. Parashakti has to be invoked. That Durga then becomes our protective layer, and then we meditate on Shiva. There, that protection is needed. So that is the final battle, which is there coming in the next chapters. The slaying of Mahishasura. Are you getting the whole thing? So that final intense tapas happened during Kartika Masa. That is why in Kartika Deepam, they lit the lamp, they lit the fire. That fire indicates Shakti. Shakti has merged into Shiva. There is only light. Kartika Deepam means that. What just happened? I think we started exactly on the Kartika, the festival time. This live. Exactly we started at that time, on the same day, without, I was not knowing. So this series is connected to that only, Kartika Deepam only. Till we become light. So now do you understand? Now even if you do Kartika Deepam, do it with this spirit. We do not know. The Jnana Khanda is absent there. So we are okay, we are seeing that Shiva is the hill we are worshipping. It's not, it's more than that. It's the whole meditation is done in Kartika Masam, in the Kartika Deepam. My dissolution. It's my tapas of how I am going to merge in myself, in Shiva. You look by looking at that hill, it's outside macrocosm. Microcosm, this is going to happen. So that should be the deep contemplation whenever you go to Arunachala in Kartika Masa, Kartika Deepam time. You go like this and do, it is a different, means you have understood the Mahima, you have understood the secrets, you understood the Jnana Khanda hidden in that. When you understand the Jnana Khanda, your sadhana will be different. What did I tell you? Mahatam, Mahatma Khand, Jnana Khand, and then Sadhana Khand. Based on how your Jnana Khand is, your sadhana will change. Now see, perhaps you have gone many times there. Now your approach will change. The moment your approach changes, the way you do that sadhana will be different. And the way you do your sadhana is the way you manifest. Based on what sadhana you do, how you do, is what you are going to get that result. See how it is? So he says in the Kartika, which is in the solar calendar corresponding to November, December. And then he says, the goddess in the form of Apita Kuchambika shall then merge in me. This is the final of Mukti. Not the end of the chapter though. All the devas rejoice during the holy season of Uttarayana. During this season, all the devas, Gandharvas, Yakshas, Siddhas, Rakshasas gather at this place, worship me, make progress in their austerities, and perform the rites which expiate all the sins committed by them in their previous life. The day on which the holy season of Uttarayana commences is an auspicious day for men. Hence, let them adore me on that day and attain the goal in their lives. Now, this is about the Uttarayana times, where he says during the season, all the devas, Gandharvas, Yakshas, Siddhas, and Rakshasas, even Rakshasas are there. That is very uncommon to see. Even Rakshasas are there coming to Arunachala on this particular day to do their tapas. Why? Because everybody is evolving. Even a Rakshasa is evolving. Even from the lowest loka to the highest loka, everything is evolving slowly. So all are coming to Arunachala, all are connecting to Arunachala, the source, because everything has come from that source, right? That's the meaning of that. When even the Rakshasas have the Shivatva in them, they are also connected in that manner. You can buy this book again and now go deep into this. So, because you might need notes or something like this, buy this book and then you can always refer. Okay, I'll just finish this para. One should never circumambulate the hill on any kind of conveyance, for it is against dharma. So this is what we are telling. The Giri Pradakshina cannot be done on any conveyance. Means on any comfortable, nice AC cars and things like that. Like what we do in the retreats, for information's sake, we go around and then we encourage the people to do it by foot, whoever wants to do. So at least those who are not able to because of any physical thing, at least they can do it. That's fine, because at least you have that information to do that. Much better if you are not able to do, but the rest can always do on their foot, and many of them do also. So many of you are coming, right, for the retreat now. Now I think if you have done this whole series, you don't need me there. I will just do time pass with you. Rest now you know what to do. You can. It's all between you and Shiva. हमारा काम है आपको शिव से जोड़ने का. बीच में हमारा कुछ काम नहीं. Come, take you there, put you there in the core of the hill, put you in the lap of Shiva, tell you what it is and खिसक जाओ. Then slowly it is between you and him. So once upon a time there was a king named Dharmaketu who came from the world of Yama, rode around the hill on his horseback. After completion of Pradakshina, his horse was transformed into a Gananatha. Amidst praises sung by the Devas, it left its master and gained the abode of Shiva. Witnessing this, the king repented and circumambulated on the hill by foot. Needless to say that he too joined the Ganas and attained Shiva's abode. Since then, Indra and the 39 crores Deva and as well as Vishnu go around Arunachala on foot. So some incident happened where this king named Dharmaketu came and from the Yamaloka, and he was taking the production on a horseback. Then his horse got transformed into a Gananatha, and then it's a big story how it went into the when praises were sung by all the devas. The horse left the master and it went to the abode of Shiva, and he was like grounded here without the horse. Now, what he did do? He repented for that. So he said, "No horse, I'll go on foot." So he went on foot, and then he won the Shiva's grace, and then he also got mukti. So since then, Indra and the other 33 crore devas, as well as Vishnu, they go around Arunachala on foot. On foot simply means Or you can say you are meditating on Shiva, but the circumambulation you are doing it on comfort inside when you are meditating. On foot means by depth. I explained to you how the walk, the step, the connectedness. In the previous, we saw how every step is a connection, where we said first step is you enter into the Bhuloka, second into the Bhurva, third into the Swaha, the first world, the second world, the third world. I was telling you, no, this is how every step takes you, and step only can give you that. In conveyance, it cannot give you, because in conveyance there is distractions and there is so much of shortcuts. You cannot be in the moment. You are trying to fly through that moment. So conveyance simply means you are not present. Walking on foot means you are more grounded and present and in that moment every kshana. That is what it means. So outside, you can put it that way, by foot. Inside, by foot simply means your steadiness to circumambulate this self, go deep inside without any comfort zone. There is one meditation which you can do outside. You can, there are so many distractive meditations where you are still in the mind, hovering the mind is flying here and there. You see visions, you see this, that. That's not abiding in the self. Self is when all the concepts drop and you come to the core. You can do that only when you go by foot. Foot means slowly. See, there is one term of barefoot. People walk barefoot there. They don't wear shoes. Most of them don't consider. I don't know if it is mentioned here somewhere, but most of them don't consider going around the hill by foot, but barefoot. Barefoot means nude feet. So removing footwear means removing all the concepts. You cannot go with all these concepts filled in. So people feel sometimes like one of the post in Thiru community, somebody had posted. I don't usually post anything there, but I could not withstand one comment that somebody wrote beautifully. If Shiva is the hill, how can one step over him? Why can't we just sit at the foothill and meditate at the feet of Shiva? Why do you want to climb on him all over? And there also people say I should take out my footwear because it's a holy hill. Taking uh, the footwear is not good, it's inauspicious. So many remove the footwear. I have never gone on the hill or around the hill without the footwear, because I am concentrating on what does this footwear mean. First of all, it is inappropriate to say that Shiva is the hill and you cannot walk on that, because what is not Shiva then? This whole Prithvi is Shiva, isn't it? Ekambareshwar Prithvi Tattva. So we are literally stamping on him here. And what are we going to hide by hiding the footwear? First of all, it doesn't mean that. So I had posted the comment in that saying that the hill means the epicenter of our self. Because somebody also commented there, if we are not supposed to climb and sit on the top, if we are supposed to sit at the feet of Shiva, how did Ravana spend most of his time on the top of the hill? He's on the head of Shiva. Head or feet doesn't matter there. It's not about that. The center of the hill is the epicenter, the center of the heart. Hridaya Akasha. That's the point. So when you are moving on top of the hill means you are moving to the center. Ramana went and lived in the center. That is why he gave the teachings, abide in the self, abide in the center, because he has always abided in the self only. It is not about all these much formalities about your should I climb up the hill or not, will Shiva be upset and all. These are all mind cook stories. This is the problem with concepts. When you get too much into concepts, you can get hooked up with all these things. So going up the hill means going within here. Now, going without footwear simply means going without concepts. Drop all your ideas, drop all your beliefs, drop everything. Oh, I learned this about Shiva, and Shiva is that, Shiva is this, he did this, he did. Drop everything. That is dropping your footwear. Go there nude, barefoot, nude foot. Pradakshin also, drop all the concepts. Whether you wear footwear, don't wear footwear, your internal state matters. Going up the hill, down the hill, whatever, around the hill. If you are connected in the right way inside, then what you do outside is of less value. It is for the egos of others to discuss whether it is right or wrong. Let them keep discussing. You abide in the truth of what it is, because from that epicenter you function. So, all these formalities, whatever we do, and what are we talking about? If Shiva is there, if Shiva is at the foothill, then at the foothill there are ashrams. In the ashrams there are toilets. So it would mean that are you going to use the toilets at the feet of Shiva? It's ridiculous. You can't exempt anything from there. Oh, come on. Those days, rishis and all that, they lived on the hill. Where do you think they went for their natural calls? You look at it. If you look at the whole thing, is there. So it's more than these things. It's more about the inner tattva. The hill is a representative. It's a holy hill. We must respect, but at the same time, we must not get fanatical about it, so that we lose the core essence of the teachings. ये बाजू में रख के वो सब करते बैठे तो कोई फायदा नहीं. If you take care of all the outside, but internally you are completely dull, you're disconnected, then what is the use? It has lost its purpose. So I'll end with a story of an avduta. In Karnataka also there are many. I've met some. One of them was sitting once. A man, a so-called devotee or somebody, went to him, and there's avadut who's sitting there. He eats from a skull, kapal, food in that. That his kapal is everything. In that he excretes also. He pees in that. Now the aghora tattva, if you see in that manner. So that's one thing, like, and they do it all for a different understanding. The aghoras, the avadutas. Now somebody went to him and he gave some food in that kapal to eat. And that person said, no, thanks. Immediately he reprimanded him, the avaduta. He said, what is on top of your head? It is kapal, right? He said, under that also dirty things are there. And you're carrying it all the time. I carried some only when needed. And you know what is it? He said, this kapal is more cleaner than that. Dirt. Dirt in whatever physicality you see, the brain and things like that, okay, fine. But what is there in that mind, in that brain? So much of dirt is there. These are avadutas. See, they are not sitting there to uh, bring disgust inside you. Maybe they'll do that, but they are there to point out something deeper, which shakes your mind and ego for a time, for a moment. It puts you back. Avadut tattvas are that. All these avdutas that I've met and have discussions or had interactions with, or some interaction, not physical, are all given this kind of example. This is one live example, what I told you. He was an avdut from Karnataka. So he would tell the people who eat non-veg and veg. He used to eat veg, non-veg. So people would say, I'm a pure veg. He would immediately reprimand. He'd say, what is your teeth made out of? What are your bones made out of? The very teeth that you eat is made out of bones. You're telling non-veg, you are full of walking non-veg, flesh and bones. What are you disgusted about? So he said, whatever you eat, you don't know the filth that is there within you. You carry excreta, you carry saliva, you carry semen, you carry foul blood, you carry pus, you carry excreta, urine. You carry all these things and you wash your body and you say you're clean. You're a pure vegetarian or a Brahman. You're a Jita Jagta non-veg, he said. But what will you say? So these tattvas which are there, now Avadhutas only can tell you beyond this. Avadhutas are Kala Bhairavas. They will break all your concepts. Simply. So what are these pointing? Go beyond the formalities. Go beyond all the rigidities of what the mind can simply create. It is not about that. One more Avadhuta was there. He used to sit in the veranda all the time. And many people used to flock around him. They used to come, touch his feet, and this, that. And one day when they came, he used to sit in a veranda. On that veranda, rice was spread out, anna, full. So people used to run and jump and come towards meeting him, touching his feet and all that. That day they couldn't come because Annapurneshwari, in India, rice or grain is treated as Annapurneshwari goddess. You can't keep your feet on that, full of. So they stuck back. The Avduta is sitting and they said, perhaps he doesn't want to be disturbed. That is why he did this Leela. He's playing this game where he doesn't want anybody to come. So he said, okay, we'll have darshan from far only. Today we'll not go close to him. So they were all having darshan. And that time, one another devotee who comes very regularly to him, he, as usual, comes running and he doesn't see anything. He just runs inside. He jumps over all that rice and all that. His feet, he doesn't even notice that. And the rice all spread, and he goes and touches the feet and sits there. And Avduta is blessing. One moment back, they thought, now he's going to get good. Because this Avduta was a crazy guy. He simply, so people are scared of him also. They don't want to offend him in any manner. And this guy, against everything, he ran away. He's going to get good. But they see him blessing him. Blessing him, he's happy in his presence. So somebody takes the courage and asks, how come you kept us so far? And you know what he said? Avduta said, your eyes was on the rice, his eyes was on me. Rice is formalities. We are stuck in all these fanatics and beliefs and concepts and things like that. And that keeps us away from the truth. Avduta is sitting there itself. It keeps us far. These concepts are our barriers. The one who can jump beyond it, Bhairava, beyond all the concepts, will reach the Avduta or will reach Shiva. Become aware of today's session. So we become aware of the grace in our life. Today we discussed, if you are having deep interest in this tattva of knowing Shiva beyond all the concepts, if you have a deep desire to realize the truth and focus and be abiding in only the truth, if you have the courage to give up the false, courage to stand up only and only for truth, irrespective of how uncomfortable the false is, that is an indication of the grace of Shiva in life. That's the grace of Mahakal, Kala Bhairava. Courage comes from there. Courage to stand up for truth uncompromisingly is the blessing of Kala Bhairava. Become aware of these tattvas within us. And if you are getting more and more affinity towards this truth, abiding more and more in the self, uncompromisingly, become aware of the grace of Shiva in life, hold on to that grace. Become deeply aware, meditate on that grace, that sensation, that perception, that deep knowing. Meditate on that knowing. That is where the grace is. Meditate on the grace and be thankful to the grace. Be grateful to it. Feel grateful to have His presence, His truth in life. Arunachala Shiva. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadayachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May we all be blessed. May we all evolve. May we all be free. See you tomorrow at night. Arunachala Shiva.